Scott Wetzel is not for everyone. For instance, sane people who can easily tell right from wrong or strongly urge to change the channel. Doctors Radio declared listening to Scott Wetzel can be hazardous to your health and can cause sickness, strokes, or wanting to take long walks on short piers. Feelings of agitation, dizziness, depression, frustration, and cold sweats are common when listening to Scott. You can have a bad reaction, such as confusion, redness in the face, teeth clenching, fist pounding, wanting to put a fork in your eye, and feeling the need to throw your radio out the window. Listeners have also reported increased swearing, trouble sleeping, and a strong desire to gamble. Truckers and drivers are urged to stay away. Learn from Jack from Arkansas. As for women, don't even think about it.
Oh no, my nipples clearly got erect.
You've been warned. Now, here's your host, Scott Wetzel.
And welcome to the Scott Wetzel Show on this fabulous, yes, the first official Football Friday right here on FanstreamSports.com. That is FanstreamSports.com. Yours truly sitting in for the next hour and a half, 2 hours or so, taking a look at the world of sports. Great lineup, a guest one. That's all you really need when you got Marc Lawrence coming up, talking a little NFL football in about an hour or so. How about making some money in the NFL? We will get to that. Survivor pools turning $1,000 into over $500,000 right from your favorite couch seat. Wild NFL preseason game last night to start things off. Wild Red Sox-White Sox game last night. NBA cheaters. What else is new? Mr. Vegas, yours truly remains on fire. Oh, this is just too easy. Can Olsen get there? There's always something. Notre Dame back on the football field today. Dumbest thing I saw and heard today. And again, Marc Lawrence joining us in about an hour or so from PlaybookSports.com. So a busy Football Friday. Run down the game yesterday. Got some thoughts on the preseason games in a week and a half or so. So a lot to get to. Plus your phone calls. Sooner or later, we'll get there.
Coming soon.
Coming soon. Yes, coming soon. I'm going to break the ice there. Your emails, your tweets, though, and your YouTube chat for sure. Those on YouTube, make sure you hit that like button. Scott Wetzel Show, subscribe. And we can go back and forth on a couple things. We got some tweets to get to, as we always do, and some emails as well. swopsipix@yahoo.com. So, yeah, busy Friday, including a 5-0 Thursday before we get to Friday's action. That's right. Gave you a 5-pack of winners. I don't know if anyone out there was smart enough to put it in a parlay. I was not. Somehow or another, I went 5-0 with you guys, and I lost money yesterday. I don't know how. Oh, I know how. Well, I do know how. You know why? Because I played that dopey WNBA game last night. Just a classic case of, just throw it on there. What could happen, right? I got the Minnesota Lynx in all my parlays. And, I had 2-team parlays, 3-team parlays. I had 4-team parlays. I went 5-0 with the picks. I had a couple of other winners as well. And I ended up putting Minnesota minus 1,600. They were 16.5-point home favorites against, who was it? Los Angeles, one of the worst teams in the WNBA. There's no way they're going to lose, right? Just put it in there. Add it on, just to bump up the parlay a little bit more. You don't even think about it. I didn't really even say, no, don't do this. It's not worth it. They're not going to lose. They got the best record in the WNBA. We had Dopey and Nick on yesterday telling us about how we love doing in Minnesota. He's from Minnesota. Just bust his chops. I like him a lot. It was an after. Forget about, you don't have to lay the 16.5. Just put him in on the money line, right? Why not? And it's funny. I got this site that I use that it's amazing, man. I've mentioned this before. It's an offshore book. And I like referencing it a lot because their odds and their numbers are so sharp. I could have DraftKings, FanDuel, Caesars, whatever, all laying, just pick a number, 15, right? In a WNBA game. And they'll be laying 15.5. It's like, wow. Or 16 even. Like, boy, that's really, and usually it's like a good point. So it's more than just a half a point. Or baseball, you can have a favorite laying, 2-1, we'll say, and they only have it at minus 180. And you're like, wow, that's real, boy, they're really missing the boat on here. And I'm telling you, nearly, nothing is 100% in gambling. That is rule absolute number one. Nothing is 100%. Otherwise, there wouldn't be a Las Vegas, right? But I would say 85 to 90% of the time, maybe between 80 and 90% of the time, their ways are the right way. If they go higher, then the team covers. If they go lower, then that team ends up covering, not the favorite. Or in the case of baseball, they'll lose. That big time favorite that they only have is minus 180. Everyone else has is 2-1. Is the one that actually wins the baseball game. So I bring all that up because yesterday, and a lot of times what they'll do is if it's a WNBA game or a big basketball game, they won't put, generally speaking, numbers more than money line numbers, more than 12, maybe 13-1. That's where they cut it off because they know these teams don't lose, right? Same thing with tennis. You can't bet the Joker in the first round or Nadal in the first round or whoever, right? The money line is too high. But yesterday, for some particular reason, and I didn't even think about it, they gave Minnesota on the money line, which was minus 1,600. And they never, ever, like I said, ever go that high. Usually about 12 is the limit for them. And I didn't, you got all these rules and different things. You just kind of forget about stuff like this every once in a while, right? Even though you really should be concentrating. It's your money, hard-earned money you're betting. And it's just like, okay, yeah, put Minnesota minus 16-1. It's going to bump it up another $12. Who cares? Why not? It's $12. I'll take that extra $12. You want to give it to me? And lo and behold, they actually had that, minus 1,600, which they never do. And lo and behold, Minnesota loses last night at home. Unfreaking believable. To one of the worst teams in the WNBA. They're the best team, best record-wise. How in the world did that happen, Scott? I don't know. And how did this website know? Why did this website, out of the blue, offer us a minus $1,600 bet, which they never, ever do? Did they know? I don't know, man. All I know is they are as shrewd as it gets. And like I said, you just got to notice these things. You got to know all the lines, and you got to look at all the books, and then you got to realize, okay, that one is different. It's not just a half a point different. Different sites have different lines like that. It's got to be like a good point and a half. So anyway, we went 5-0. I gave you 5 winners yesterday. I gave you the under in Las Vegas, Indy, in the WNBA game. I told you, I had a pretty good hunch about that. Indy played a crazy game against Minnesota last week, high scoring. Game ends up going way over. They lose the game, right? They've been on a great scoring tear, 6 straight games with 100 points or more. But I just thought Las Vegas, Indy, this one's going to be played like a playoff game. Game even went to overtime, and it still didn't even come close to going over. So we hit that one, had that hunch. We gave you Carolina in the Hall of Fame game. What a game. What a terrific game outside of the broadcasters, which we'll get to here in a second. But Carolina ends up covering the 1.5, whatever number you got it at. Scored a late touchdown in the final seconds of the game. Good job by, Haynes King, and he did it exactly the way I told you he would, which we'll get into here. So we gave you that winner, and then we went 3-0 on the diamond. Got fortunate, lucky, whatever you want to call it, with the Red Sox, but the bottom line is, they won again, which is just crazy. Gave you Atlanta easy winners over Miami, and gave you Philadelphia laying a 1.5 easy winners over Washington. So 5-0, that they were all pretty straight bets. Carolina -1 was probably -110. Red Sox were a little high, -180. Atlanta was like -140. Philadelphia was basically pick them because you were laying a 1.5. So that was, generally, I'll put it in now just to see if anyone actually did it. If anyone actually did it, there's Atlanta -140. Red Sox were around 180. Do I have a 180 on the board today? Somewhere close to it, 168. Yeah, close enough, 168. There's a couple of pick'ems. I'll go a little bit higher on one pick'em. And then we need one more, basically, pick'em. There we go, -114. So if you were a $100 player yesterday and you put that in a parlay, you won basically $1,600. Not bad. Not bad if you did it. Again, did I? No, I had to throw in Minnesota there. Unfreaking believable. So we've done a pretty good job. I must say, pat ourselves on the back. I always say, the big mantra, no one but nobody beats the boys in Vegas. But yours truly, Mr. Vegas here, we've been able to do it. So kind of weird saying Mr. Vegas. I will say, right? I started that moniker a long, long time ago when No one was betting. It was illegal. Now that everyone's doing it, now it seems kind of cocky. But no, I've been saying that for the longest time, if anyone's wondering. So what are we going to do today, Scott? Who cares about yesterday? Yesterday's 24 hours old. Got a 4-pack for you today. We'll give you one WNBA. I generally like to keep it 3. But we have the WNBA. So we'll give you one WNBA, which I think is actually a live dog. I think they could win outright, and that's Washington. Playing good basketball. No one thought they would be any good this year, but they're actually 4 or 5 games over 500. They're sitting in the final playoff spot. Atlanta comes to town. They've been nothing but a 500 basketball team over the last month or so. So Washington's getting 5.5, 6. I think they can win outright. I'll take the 6. Buy the hook if you need to, but give me Washington at home, +6 against Atlanta, and, if they win outright, then the +180 on the money line, if you want to grab a little snippet on that. I'll take the Red Sox. This is one of those, though, it's like, how is it going to lose? And whenever I say that, I'm telling you more times than not, it does lose. But the Red Sox are the hottest team in baseball. The A's, they're playing the A's, the coldest team in baseball. Colder than Colorado, colder than the Mets, colder than, an iceberg. They're playing brutal baseball. Best team, hottest team anyway, against the coldest, right? How is that possibly going to lose? We'll see. You got to lay a 1.5, but we'll do that. Boston laid a 1.5 for -125. We'll take Cleveland -140 against the White Sox, who played at Fenway Park, Beantown last night, late into the, that thing ended close to midnight. After 11 anyway, for sure. Long game, 13-inning game. Craziness with the Red Sox, which we'll get to. I wonder, how much the stamina they have left in the system. And now they're facing, probably Cleveland's best pitcher, who's allowed 3 runs or more only a handful of times all season. I like the Guardians, even though they just got swept by the Mets. And then the last one, one of our favorite betting systems, right? Greatest sports betting mantra of all time. Winners bet with streaks, losers bet against streaks. Washington has now lost 8 straight. They're going back home after playing in Philadelphia yesterday. Not a far trip. Hosted Cincinnati, which has played a little bit better baseball, coming off a sweep against Miami. They're +105 on the Reds. Don't know who's pitching for them. Doesn't matter. Just keep betting against Washington until they win. So, Washington WNBA, Washington baseball, Cleveland, and then the Red Sox laying 1.5, our 4-0 pack for today. Hopefully 4-0. So baseball, last night, before we get into the NFL and turning $1,000 into over $500,000. Red Sox win again. Man, we'll start there. 8 straight wins, 9 straight games with a home run. They already clinched their 9th series win. That's the second most in franchise history. They fell behind 5 different times. It's amazing. Each time, I started tuning in around the 6th or 7th inning or so, right? Well, I actually took the little lady to dinner last night. Don't ask why. But it actually went okay, surprisingly enough, right? We don't talk at dinner, but, that's okay. So got home, got situated, turned on the TV, watched the beginning of the football game, and then turned on the Red Sox. I saw they were down. Like I said, picked it up around 6th, 7th inning or so. They tied it, fell behind again, 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 and then finally ended up winning it. 5 different times they trailed against the White Sox last night. 5. Each time they came back to tie it, including a couple in extra innings where it's obviously a little bit easier. But one of those was down 2. And every time I said, man, I knew it. I put the Red Sox in all my parlays, and this is before I knew Minnesota had lost. I was like, man, I knew it. I finally buy into this team. They're 30-5. I go crazy in, and they're going to freaking lose. Man, I knew it. Just my luck, right? So then they come back and tie, and I think about bailing on my parlays, and then I'm looking at the Minnesota score. It's like, I'm going to bail on the Red Sox. They're going to win, and this dopey Minnesota team's going to lose. Which is exactly what happened. So I didn't, fortunately. But each time I'm like thinking, man, I put the black cloud in them. And man, each time they come back, this team is so resilient. I mean, it is just like, it's gotten to the point where it's not, what have you done for me lately? It's what was going on with this team the first 40 or so games of the regular season that they were so far behind. It really was more than that, about 60 or so. I mean, this team was, 11 games under 500. You look at them now, it's like, how is that possible? They're getting clutch hit after clutch hit after clutch hit. I mean, it's just amazing how things have just flipped, that they've just completely flipped with this team. I mean, love watching their game. The broadcasters are like giddy. Lou Merlone, I mean, just like, what else can you say about this club? I don't know if it's all going to come crashing down. I don't know. Maybe. But, until it does, enjoy it, Red Sox fans. Just enjoy it, right? And I'll tell you, now they host a 3-game series against the A's, who obviously suck. And it is literally a battle of the hottest team in baseball versus the coldest. Now, I don't know how Boston is not going to, I won't say sweep, because anything can happen in one particular game, but you got to believe the Red Sox are going to take 2 out of 3, right? They just have to. Red Sox are 31-5 now, 16-4 their last 20 at home, 17-3 since the All-Star break. Meanwhile, the A's are on a 7-32 run. I underestimated them. 7-32, 4-15 since the All-Star break. They got a guy who's 2-7 on the hill, Jack Perkins. I mean, how are they going to win tonight or even any of these games, right? I don't know, but somehow or another, you watch. They'll win at least one of these games. Hopefully it's not tonight, because we do have them later on tonight. But yeah, just listen, they could realistically win this division. I don't know what you're getting out of the Stankies. I mean, they're just stuck in mud. Aaron Judge came out the other day. We didn't get to it yesterday, but, he said he's going to play again, blah, 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 blah. But listen, he's got a busted rib that should have been healed a month or so ago. If it's not healed by now, then there's definitely something wrong. He may want to play. He may be even told, hey, yeah, just to stay positive, you're going to play again. But it's not looking like he's playing again. I mean, and if he does, he's not going to be ready for the season. He's not going to be in mid-season shape, we'll say. He's probably going to sit out another month. Now you're looking at the beginning of September. The guy's got to have a couple of weeks. He's not superhuman. You got to have a couple of weeks to see in Major League Baseball. So heading into the World Series or the playoffs, I mean, he's not, even if he is back, he's not going to be, like I said, in midseason form. Nothing about Stanton coming back. Looks like he's done. So this team is going to be, basically what they are right now. They'll play 500 baseball. They'll finish around 13 games, which is what they are right now, over 500. Can the Red Sox overtake them? Yes. Can they overtake Tampa Bay? They're 5 back, 5 in the loss column. So Tampa Bay's schedule is as easy as Boston. They're playing in the American League. The main thing, as we said yesterday, Red Sox now 6.5 up in the wild card race. They really would, at this point, it's not impossible, but, it would take something crazy for them not to make the playoffs, which is the main thing. But now you want to win the division, because if you win the division, again, you get to avoid that first best-of-3 series that nobody wants, no matter how good you are, right? Because you'll have the best record in the American League. So 5 back, with the 50 or so games left, 48 left, they could do it. They could actually do it, which is, if you would have told me that a month and a half ago, it's just been like the craziest thing in the world. I don't know what the odds, how high they got with Boston, because I had them earlier, but they had to be up there. Let's put it that way. I'm guessing 50-1, 60-1, something crazy like that to end up winning it all. So Red Sox win yesterday. Nothing else really crazy yesterday. We hit with the Phillies and everything else. Atlanta takes on the Stankies tonight. Little rematch of the 98 World Series. Figure Matt Olson will be in the lineup for the Braves. I looked it up. I meant to do this for yesterday's show. So he passes Stan Musial the other day for 8th on the all-time most consecutive games played list, right? Didn't play yesterday. There was no game for the Braves. So he would have to play nearly 11 more years in order to break Cal Ripken Jr.'s record, which is 2,000. I didn't realize he got this high. I thought it was like 2,300 or so. But he actually played in 2,632 consecutive games, did Cal Ripken. Playing in the steroid era. The one question, I'm waiting for some reporter to ask good old Cal is, how did you play in that many games in the steroid era? Did you have any extra help? I wonder what he would say, right? So anyway, he'd have to play Matty 11 more years. He's 32. 43? Probably not, right? If it was like a home run milestone or a doubles milestone where you could play every now and again, okay, you might get a team that would take you on just to help you set the record, but you're not going to get the team that's going to play you every single day. So he's probably not going to get there. Cal Ripken, okay, out. Lou Gehrig at 23, 21, 30, he'd have to play 7.5 more years. At 32, could he get to, 39, 40, with the DH? Probably not, right? It's hard playing every single day when you're in your 20s, let alone when you're in your 30s. So probably not. He's not going to get there either. He can get to third place, which is Everett Scott back in the 19 teens. I think he played for the Cincinnati Reds. He played in 1,307 consecutive games. That's only 2.5 more seasons. Throw in this year, it's basically 2 more years after that. He might be able to get into third place all time. That might happen. That's and there's obviously a 1,000-game gap, almost anyway, 800 plus between Lou and Everett Scott. So that's a milestone that's worth striving for. I think he would get there. I would say yes, especially as you get more and more notoriety about this stuff. I think it would be a goal of his for sure if it's not already. So yeah, that wouldn't be a bad thing. See what the Stankies did. Speaking of the Stanks, hosted a Braves tonight. I'll talk to Mark about this. He's as old as I am. They signed up with Polymarket to be official sponsor of the New York Stankies. So now, when you go to the ballpark, you'll see the Polymarket, logo all over the place. If you're watching on TV as well, it'll be behind home plate. I've never in a million years thought it was going to be this bad. I was always one of the few gamblers that said, no, I don't want gambling legalized. I don't want it. Why not? It'll be legal. Yeah, but you know what? No one bothers me. I'm not betting thousands of dollars. If I want to bet with my local Louis DeLip, no one's bothering me. If I want to bet with an offshore site, no one's bothering me. I get my Joneses. I'm fine with this. I knew it would be bad once it became legal. I didn't think it would be this bad, I have to say. But it's just over the top. It just, whether you can't watch a game now, whether it's football, baseball, basketball, hockey, without gambling being mentioned. I mean, out and right lines, in hockey, whether it's shots on goals, whether it's baseball, total bases, they're talking about strikeouts, football, to a lesser extent, football. But they're all just, I don't want it thrown in my face. I don't want to, I can handle it. But I could see where someone who's younger, just starting in this game, is, get intimidated and be overwhelmed by this stuff and think they could win and everything else and gamble their life savings away. I could see that happening. I can. The way they've just embraced this thing. I mean, it's just crazy to think a Major League, if you would have told me a Major League Baseball team, and baseball in particular, with all the Pete Rose stuff, right? It would not only allow gambling, but be in bed with the gambler. I mean, literally in bed with these guys. It's just wow. And then be part of the broadcast and stuff. It's only a matter of time. You mark it down right now at 2:23, August 7, 2026. It is only a matter of time before we get a scandal. I'm not sure which sport it'll be in. Might be in all of them. I don't know. And when I mean scandal, I'm not talking about Terry Rozier's scandal NBA. I'm talking real scandal. Real players gambling, fixing games. I know you don't have to fix games nowadays. There's so many other ways you can gamble illegally if you wanted to, if you're a player. But the temptation of fixing games, the ease of it all, some way, somehow, it's either going to be a pitcher, it's either going to be a star quarterback, it's either going to be, a goaltender in the NHL. There is going to be, within the next, I would say, 2 to 3 years, there's going to be a major gambling scandal. College football, college basketball, these kids, I know they got NIL money coming in, but boy, they get a taste of that dough coming in. And someone else says, I'll give you $1 million for 1 game, 2 games, 3 games. Just do this for me. I'm telling you, it's coming. Without a shadow of a doubt, somebody's going to get caught up into this and get stuck doing something they think they could do. If it's Polymarket or Kalshi, the prediction market. What genius, and I mean that literally, what genius came up with prediction market? It's gambling. Everything is a prediction market. I make a bet with local Louis DeLip or with DraftKings or Caesars or whatever. I'm making a prediction that team is going to win. It's all a prediction market. But there's cloud of prediction market. There's the black cloud and then there's the white cloud. And these Kalshis of the world are all sitting under that white cloud because we're not a gambling site. We're a prediction market. What a bunch of crap, right? I mean, who are they kidding? It's legalized gambling. It is just absolutely legalized gambling. And you're getting a big fight about this. I told you, New York, the state of New York. Now, the Yankees are teaming up with Polymarket. The Mets have already teamed up with some other site I've never heard of, Novig. You got the Rangers tied up with Polymarket already as well, the New York Rangers in hockey. So you have all these professional teams tying themselves up to all these prediction markets, right? Meanwhile, the actual state of New York is suing all these prediction markets. Why? Because they're not getting a cut. They get a cut out of DraftKings and Caesars and FanDuel because that's the license that they signed on with New York. Listen, we're going to get 53% of your gross revenue. They're not getting squat from the prediction market. So not aren't they getting anything from the prediction market, they're losing, all those other sites I mentioned are all losing gamblers to the prediction markets, meaning the state is losing money that way as well. So this is just a combustible situation that is going to implode somewhere, somehow, and I don't have any doubt it's going to be with players being involved, maybe owners being involved. Who knows? I mean, these owners own these sites. I mean, it's good as baseball owns one of these sites, DraftKings. They're in bed with them. It's just, it's nuts. It really is. I don't know what's going to stand. I don't know what's going to stop. But scandal-wise, I don't even know if that would do it. I don't even know if that would do it. So, football last night. Carolina beats Arizona. Boy, what a good game. I will say, what I tell you, told you so about the over, right? I'm not betting any unders in these preseason football games with an over-under of 34 or higher. Gave you the numbers yesterday. 34 or higher preseason games go over the numbers 60% of the time. This one hit the over by freaking halftime, or at least you had a push by halftime. It was 17 all. I mean, there was no chance this was going to go under. With fewer, and I told you why, with fewer preseason games, used to be 6, then it was 4. Now it's down to 3. Now, these Hall of Fame teams do have 4, but the mentality has changed. When you have 6 preseason games or even 4 preseason games, you could spread your starters out amongst those 4 games. Now when you're down to 3 and you don't want to play any starters that last game, so you're really down to 2 preseason games. So now the mentality is, okay, let starters get in there. Let's do what we've been working on. And that means scoring. So, and I told you exactly, right? I was dead on with this game. Absolutely dead on. What else is new, right? I own the NFL preseason. Just kidding. But I told you, why did we like Carolina yesterday? Because I thought their backup quarterbacks were better. In particular, Haynes King, the kid from Georgia Tech. That's one of the things we look for in preseason games. Look for quarterbacks who could scramble because they might not be able to read defenses. They might not have wide receivers that are worth squat when they're playing in the game, but you could always scramble. And those defensive third-string linemen that he's going up against are kind of like, the guys in college. And that's exactly what Haynes King did. Had a couple of nice scrambles on the last drive, led him into the end zone, made a nice little scramble for the touchdown, nearly got his head taken off, but who cares? He got in, and it was the perfect analysis. Just the absolute. I may not predict another game for the rest of the year and just say, you know what? I had the Hall of Fame game dead to rights. Just absolutely dead to rights. So Carolina wins. And then we had to put up with Chris Collinsworth and Mike Tirico, who I generally like. Tirico. I think he's pretty good, but not when he's paired up with Chris Collinsworth. Those two, Chris Collinsworth in particular, he brings Mike down. Chris Collinsworth is like that little kiddies band, that you like growing up, Hannah Montana, of the world. And then eventually you get to the point where, that's not for me. That's a kiddies band. That's a kiddies group, right? I'm better than that. I got to move on. Let the kiddies group be the kiddies group. And he just, so he doesn't. He stays that kiddies band. He just talks down to everybody. Not that he's smarter. He just talks stupidly. Like Carson Beck's first drive, he made a couple of completions, and he's going, oh, this guy is the greatest thing in the world. Oh, he looks so comfortable out there. He looks so smooth. He's checking down. He's this, he's that. Even Tirico said, Chris, it's the first freaking drive. Let him get out of the first quarter before you put him in the Hall of Fame, will you please? Even Tirico was like, come on, that's crazy. And that's how Collinsworth is. He's such a kiss ass. Oh my God, the first time he criticizes somebody will be the first time. I can't take it. It's day number one. It was the first drive, and I was reminded about all the things why I don't listen to Sunday Night Football. I'll watch with the sound turned down. I can't take him. I don't know why they don't put Mike Tomlin in the booth. Tomlin was terrific. Maybe didn't realize how good he was going to be. But he would be the perfect guy in the booth. Guy's got experience as a head coach. He knows the ins and outs of all these teams, obviously. I'm done with Collins. I can't listen. I can't. Sunday night, I turn it down. I'll put on the local broadcast. I'll find it on my TV, believe it or not, has it. But he's just awful. You can't listen to him. Just can't listen to him. I mean, again, he's throwing 5-yard passes, Chris. He's throwing against third stringers that wouldn't be starting on Topeka High, and you're making, Carson Beck be like the greatest quarterback prospect in the history of mankind. Please. He threw 3 or 4 completions, for goodness sakes. Now, it turned out he had a pretty good game, I will say. But I don't think that it's because Collinsworth realized that. I just think that because he was playing a Carolina defense that wasn't, really any good. So, but he's just unwatchable. I just first game in LWs. You guys know what we've talked about this many times before. Man, he's just unwatchable. Just unwatchable. So, anyway, I told you so coming up with yesterday. We got the Jets in the news a little bit, and our NFL Survivor Pool. We found a new website. Which we'll talk about, and then you want to turn $1,000 into over $500,000 right from your couch seat. I have the way. You don't have to go to Vegas. So we'll talk about that. We'll take a quick little break here. We got our college football playoff ranking schedule. That was released. And how about Purdue AD Tommy McClellan? What a dope he was yesterday. I mean, you talk about just stupid is as stupid does. That is that. We'll get to all that. An NBA note. Dumbest thing I saw and dumbest thing I read today as well. And how about stripping down naked to go to a restaurant? Believe it or not, there is one in Florida that offers that. What is this world coming to? All that coming up right here, including Marc Lawrence, top of the hour on the Scott Wetzel Show, fanstreamsports.com.
Hi, golfers. IndyCar Tim here. I want to talk to you a little bit about Golf Central Magazine. It's not just a golf magazine. It's the magazine for everything. Turf, travel, philanthropy, and lifestyle. Head over to golfcentralmag.com and check out the latest issue. Some of the regular features in Golf Central Magazine: the Golf Bachelorette of the Month, the Golf Bachelor of the Month, the Golf Cart Girl of the Month, Golf History, Grip It and Sip It. So head over to golfcentralmag.com. It's free. It's the magazine for everything: turf, travel, philanthropy, and lifestyle. Golf Central Magazine at golfcentralmag.com. We'll see you there.
Sports fans, it's time to gear up. Head to fanstreamsports.com and check out our brand new merchandise store. We're talking bold t-shirts, 3/4 zips, hoodies, hats, mugs, and more. Everything you need to rep your favorite shows and your favorite crew. Whether you're rolling with the J.P. Peterson Show in Tampa Bay, From the Rough in Dallas, the Tim May Show featuring Clay Hall, or the Jeff Thidoff Show in Ohio, or any of our Fanstream Sports original programming, we've got the perfect look for game day and every day. So don't wait. fanstreamsports.com. Click merch and grab your gear now. Wear the stream, live the stream, fanstreamsports.com.
Hey folks, let me tell you about Bay Area Modern Medical Center, a very different kind of approach to primary care. Personalized preventative medicine, not a one-pill-fits-all mentality. Christopher Lugo and his experienced medical staff are proactive in looking at issues before they become a problem, encouraging a healthy lifestyle with proper diet, supplements, and exercise to optimize your active lifestyle. Rather than the impersonal, rushed approach, you will be the only patient and will have our full attention. That's new. Getting old is inevitable, but feeling and looking old is avoidable. Bay Area Modern Medical Centers are experts in anti-aging regenerative medicine that optimizes your body's performance in many areas. So call for an appointment to get started on a journey back to full health and a happy life with a new, modern way of healthcare. Call 844-977-3477 or go to BAMMC.com. That's 844-977-3477 or BAMMC.com.
Today's show is brought to you by Tomstown, a premier craft distillery based in Kansas City, Missouri. Discover their award-winning lineup, including double oaked bourbon, botanical gin, and double grain vodka, named the best craft vodka by the readers of USA Today. Available for online delivery in 40 states. Visit toms-town.com or their Kansas City distillery to explore more. Elevate your game with Tomstown, where history meets innovation. Please enjoy responsibly. Orion Golf Management Solutions. Orion Management Solutions has tailored its service packages just like it tailors its approach to customers. Some owners need more supervision, while others need periodic assessment of their short-term and long-term strategies and programs. Orion can be called in to develop a business plan with the existing staff, or we can assist with the daily management of a facility or event. Either way, we make sure the client is satisfied and understands the direction the facility needs to go in order to achieve the owner's goals. Orion Management Solutions can help with owner assistance service solutions, daily course management, business plan development, monthly operations, or as-needed consulting services. Whatever your need, Orion Golf Management Solutions can help. Check out oriongolf.com.
Let's go.
Right now, back to the show on FanStream Sports.
All right, welcome back. It is the Scott Wetzel Show right here on FanStream Sports on a Friday afternoon. Yours truly sitting in for another hour and a half or so. We got the little YouTube chat. We got some emails, some tweets to get to, some more NFL stuff, little NBA, a lot of college football, or at least some news and notes anyway. Marc Lawrence, playbooksports.com. He'll join us top of the hour, do some college football, NFL stuff with him. One correction. Good point there, Mark. The Nationals won on Wednesday, he points out. So their losing streak is only one. You're right. In fact, you know what? We had them Wednesday, plus the 170. We had them as live underdogs when we went 2-1 on Wednesday. So good call. Yeah, I didn't update my notes beforehand. I meant to do that. I got to do that because I'm going to be hosting on Sports Grid in a couple of hours at 5 o'clock. So I was looking at some old notes. So you're right about that. So delete Washington. We only played Washington or against Washington. We delete Cincinnati because Washington had lost. So drop them. So our 3 picks tonight: Washington WNBA still plus the 6, and I think they can win outright. Red Sox laying a 1.5, and then Cleveland minus the 140 against the White Sox. Good call there. Michael, I forgot the NFL game was on last night. Mike, how could you forget the NFL? You could forget WNBA. You could forget baseball. You could forget hockey. NBA, you can't forget NFL. You just can't do it. So you missed out. Sale versus Freed tonight. If that's the case, that's a pitching change then from Atlanta, because it was not Sale in there. I'm seeing, but let me go down. I'm seeing, where's the game? I'll see it here in a second. Tyler Molly. The guy they picked up from, who was it, Cincinnati, one of the teams there. I have him listed as the starter. So I do like the Stanks. Yeah, he gave that out to one of the guys. Don't know if, in fact, San Francisco, not Cincinnati, San Francisco. So I still have him as the starter, Mike, not Freed. So Freed, or not Sale. That would be a great one, for fans, Sale versus Freed. That would be the case, but I'm seeing Molly, and he blows. So Yankees only minus 135. That's not a bad little play. If you want an extra play, that probably would be. In fact, it would be the extra play. So pretty good, a day of baseball later on tonight. Some halfway decent series starting, including that Atlanta Yankee one. Hate to have to root on the Braves because we got their team total under second half of the year, but nothing trumps betting against the Yankees or rooting against the Yankees anyway. So I told you yesterday, right? And listen, I'm no genius with this one. We all kind of figured this was going to be the case. So Lion, after the Falcons signed Bijan Robinson, and the Colts gave Jonathan Taylor, an extension. It was the only guy that was left was Gibbs, and the Lions. We told you did exactly what I told you would happen, right? I told you yesterday, you wait and see. I said he's going to sign within the next day or two, and he's going to make just a tick bit more than Robinson, who made just a little bit more than Taylor. I said he's waiting to be the highest paid player. It's a game of cat and mouse, not between Detroit and Gibbs. It's really a cat and mouse game between Gibbs and Robinson. Whoever signed first was going to get less. Simple as that. If Gibbs signed on Monday, then it would be Robinson yesterday signing for a couple of dollars more. But instead it was the other way around. And we figured that was going to be the case. So Gibbs signs with the Lions, gets a 3-year contract worth $67.5 million after Robinson signed a 3-year $66.75 million. So we got, $750,000 more. And then the deal could be up to $75.75 million, whereas Robinson's deal could be up to $75 million. So again, he got an extra $750,000 with incentives. And then the signing bonus was $51.5 million, which is $500,000 more than the $51 million that Robinson got. I mean, when you've been watching this stuff as long as I have, you knew that was going to be the case. You just knew it. There's no way in the world. Now, it'd be curious to have found out if the Lions just said, listen, dude, we like you. We drafted you. You know, you obviously been very productive for us, but you're as good as Robinson. There, the market is set. All right, that's the market. $75 million for 3 years. Signing bonus $51 million. I'm not giving you a dime more. That's it. You know, would Gibbs really walk away from that? I mean, no way in the world, right? No way in the world. So these NFL GMs, they're not good. They're not shrewd negotiators. They really aren't. You got the hammer in your hand. You could franchise the dude, right? And you know how running backs are. They fall off a cliff as far as their effectability, right? I got you under contract for this year, right? And I could franchise you next year. And hell, if I really wanted to, I could franchise you again the following year. So I'm not giving you $67.5 million. I'm going to give you $67. I'm not going to give it another $10 million plus in incentives. I'll give you $10 million incentives. I'm not going to give you $500,000. You want to walk away from that, Shamir? Go ahead. Go ahead. Walk away. I dare you. I didn't even say it to him in front of his face. I dare you to walk away from that. Because if you do, they're going to play under Trump change this year, and we're going to franchise you next year. And it's not going to be, $25 million basically. The running back, franchise tag is probably closer to 15. So the Lions had all the cards. They held all the cards. It's amazing. There's only been one time that I've held the cards in a negotiating deal. You can go your whole life without it. You really can. I was working at Sporting News, which it was one-on-one sports turned into Sporting News, right? That was the only time. That was a job that I never really got close to being fired, but I had partners who did, right? And I was kind of left there standing, and kind of worked my way back up into the company and this, that, what have you. They wanted to start the morning show again with me as the host. And they came to me and said, all the good things and blah, 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 blah. And that was like the one time where I really, I held the hammer. I had all the cards. Now, I wasn't asking for $1 gazillion, mind you, just a decent wage. So you go your life, honestly, you look yourself in the mirror and say, have I ever really held the cards and held the hammer over somebody in a negotiator, or was I really at the mercy? I try and convince them. I hope that they'll come my way. But ultimately, if they say no, then I got to go what they say, right? So this is a case for the Lions. They held the hammer. Listen, I'm giving you a great rate. I'm going to make you the second highest or tied for the highest paid player in NFL running back history. You're going to walk away from that? So why do they go, to appease the player, to make him happy? What, $67 million isn't going to make him happy? Up to $75 million is not going to make him happy? If he's that concerned, if he's that selfish, then you know what? I don't want him on my football team. And I'll go draft somebody else then. So, but he got his money, and he got, like I said, exactly what I said he would get. Just absolutely exactly what I said. Just a tick more than what Robinson got. So, Optimism. This is the time of year where optimism reigns supreme, right? Just everybody's got to go to the Super Bowl. Everyone's got to win a championship. Everyone's got to win their division, including, believe it or not, as I scroll down here, the New York Jets, right? Even the dopey New York Jets even think they're gonna, make the playoffs, and who knows, maybe win the Super Bowl. Here's offensive coordinator Frank Reich on quarterback Geno Smith, who I actually like.
Geno's the leader. He's the leader of the offense. Make no mistake about it, in every way, shape, and form. And to me, what has come crystal clear to me in this early time in training camp, the attribute that sticks out to me is his laser focus. This man is laser focused like people don't understand. Like, he comes to work. He comes to work and he is locked in. And I feel like the whole offense plays off of that. That's a really big deal.
Wow. We're talking about Geno Smith here, Frank. Take it easy, brother. And again, I like Geno, but was he laser focused when he was, allegedly beating the hell out of his girlfriend? Was he laser focused when he didn't beat up, but got into a fight with his Jets teammate way back when? Was he laser focused when he was getting his ass kicked last year with the Las Vegas Raiders? I mean, he's a mediocre quarterback. I like him. But I've even come to the conclusion at this point of his career, he's not going to be the star he was at West Virginia back in college. I mean, that ship has sailed. And if you think he's going to take this Jets team out of the doldrums of being the same old Jets, boy, they are trying to sell you on Geno Smith. That's what I told you before. As far as coaches being fired, Aaron Glenn is on the shortest leash, despite it being only year number 2. Because they're going to build the Jet fan. Now, the Jet fan is as idiotic as they are. They're pretty shrewd. They know it's Geno, right? So I think they could sell this all they want. And the Jet fan still knows it's Geno. Who we kidding here, right? But okay, you want to tell me he's the greatest thing in the world, I'll buy in. But they get off to a 2-8 start. He's gone. He's gone. He won't survive. Won't survive the year. And I don't know if it'll be that bad, but it'll be pretty close to that probably. So, they have some decent players on offense. The defense should be better. It can't be any worse than last year. The whole situation really can't be any worse than last year, but it's the same old Jets, right? Say what you want about Rex Ryan, but the last time the Jets, were worth anything is when Rex Ryan was in control with Mark Sanchez, believe it or not. It's not like he had great players either, at least not a great quarterback. I mean, that's the last time, and he tried to get the job back, but he ended up not getting it, unfortunately. So I actually like him. I even though I'm a Dolphin fan, he's the one Jet, head coach I actually like. So I think he's pretty funny. Found a new Survivor website. It's called SundaySurvivor.com. And, Survivor pools are the king of everything, right? And this one's not bad. I'm not, playing any games here. I don't have any ties to it or whatever. But I used to do one, what was the name of it? RunYourPool.com. That was a great little site. The fees weren't too expensive. They gave you everything, gave you all the options, right? Then, Splash bought them out, and a couple of other of these Survivor Pool websites got bought out by Splash. Splash has gotten a little better, but I don't like the first of all, they're super expensive. They charge you over $1 a person, depending on how many people you have in your pool. That's really expensive, right? Really expensive. So I don't like that about them. They've gotten a little bit better, but they were a confusing site. It's one of those sites where they offer up hundreds of other pools. And if you want to join someone else's pool that you don't know, all right, great site, knock yourself out. But if you're looking to set up your own pool, it's too damn confusing. Just too confusing. So I don't use that site anymore. I was using a site, football office pool. What is it called again? Officepooljunkie.com. Is that the one? Office pool. That's not it. Officepooljunkie.com. I use them. Those have a lot of pop-up ads. It's not bad. It's free. No charge at all, which isn't, too bad. But I've had so many people say they had trouble logging in for whatever reason. Some people do, some people don't. But there's enough of you that do that it's kind of like, I think if you use your phone, it doesn't work well for whatever reason. I've emailed them, never really got a true answer. So I opened it up on the podcast and told people, if you know another site, right, let me know. Because I bounced around a few of these others, officepoolJunkie.com. Not bad. I would use that over Splash. So someone sent me SundaySurvivor.com. And, it's actually not bad. It actually, you look for different, if you run pools, you look for different things. As silly as when you list all the people that enter, do you list them by their first name or their last name or by when they entered? Some sites list them by when they entered, which makes it very difficult if you're running a pool. Some sites list it only by their first name, which is just stupid. That's a little bit easier if you remember that. You use these sites once a year, right? And a lot of times I'd forget. It's like, oh, fuck, I already wrote down 150 names by their last name. Now I got to go back and write everyone's first name. I don't even know these people's first name, So the little quirky things like that really make running a pool all the aggravation that it is. So this one seems to have it all. Dare I say it, I've only used this site a little bit. I just set it up this week, and I'll send the links out to you guys if you're interested in joining. I got a $25 pool and a $51 pool. Why 51, Scott? Why did I make it 50? What's the point? Why? If you're asking that, then you don't run pools, or two, you're an amateur, which is okay in both cases. Why don't I make it $50, 25 and 50? Because when someone PayPals me or Venmos me $50, do you think they're smart enough to say in the PayPal note 2 $25 entry fees or one $50 entry fee? No, they don't. They just send you $200 or $150 or $100 or $50, whatever it is. They don't tell you who it's for. They don't tell you what it's for. They just give you the money, which is nice. But you got to then go back and look up all the names and see who entered what and tabulate what the charge would be. If you make it $51 and the guy sends you $51 or $102 or $76, you know exactly what it is. It's one entry in the $25 pool, one entry in the $50 pool or $51 pool. Nice and easy. Or it's two entries in the $51 pool. That's why you can make it 49 or 51, whatever, floats your boat. I made it 51. So that's what you do. They offer some, so I looked up the rules here, and it's kind of quirky. Here's the one thing. There's always something. There's every pool, I'm looking for that one pool that just has it perfect. Just absolutely perfect, right? They have their settings. They have their ability to write notes down and make tabulations and do everything you need to do. The one little quirky thing is that while they do allow 2 strikes, which is a very, very popular thing now, make, certain weeks, double pick weeks, they allow that. So I picked 3 weeks. They have no, same survivor pool rules. You can't pick the same team twice. You could put on yes or no to that. You could pick a loser's pool where you pick teams to lose versus win. You could do that. The one thing like they don't have is, do they allow you to have 1 strike? And the answer is yes and no. Sites that allow that, just, okay, you got 1 strike. No big deal, right? Other sites, like that Office Pool Junkie, it's really stupid. It's too confusing even to say. Like, you could end up with 3 strikes, believe it or not. I got into this big argument with them last year. Like, you're giving someone 3 strikes. I thought it was 2 strikes are out. It's only 2 strikes, though, if you get it in the same week. Otherwise, it reverts back to no strike. Well, that's the dumbest thing in the world, right? So this one, you get a second strike. However, once you lose, you get put into a loser's bracket. What do you mean? So they have two pools in essence. A winner's pool and a loser's pool. You determine what the split would be. Let's just say 70-30, right? Once you lose in the winner's pool, you get sent to the loser's pool. And then you continue to play on. The problem is there's no deadline of the first pool. So you could lose in week 15, and then you're being sent into the loser's pool. Whereas the losers pool could theoretically be over. You think you've won because everyone else got eliminated in week 10 of the losers pool, but you got to play on because the 15-week loser in the real pool is going to get bounced to the second pool. It's that would cause too many issues. Way, way, way too many issues, Scott. So it's like, I like having a 2-strike pool, but that would be crazy. So forget about that. So it's just single elimination, unfortunately. Then they offer up ties and everything else, mulligans. What they do offer I like is you can determine when your deadline is. So all the people that miss out on Sunday, 1 o'clock Eastern time, and all the people crying about that, oh, Scott, I forgot this, that, what have you. I just made it Monday. You want to wait till Monday night to pick the Monday night game? Knock yourself out. So that I like the ability to do that. They do offer it against the spread pool. I might start one of those. That'll be tougher, obviously. You think, okay, some guys can't go 1 week without losing, let alone, 15, 16. If we get 20 people in that pool, I'll make that one like $100. If we get 20, 30 people in that pool, I bet that pool will be over by week 5. I don't think anyone's going to go 4-0 against the spread. That would be real. Maybe, maybe, but I might do that as well. So I like this site. I do right now. I haven't gone through the logs and all the other stuff, but so far this site seems to have it all except for that. There's just no 2 strikes. You can't do 2 strikes. I wonder if they just didn't think of that. But this goofy, second chance bracket one, that would lead to just too much trouble. I know enough to know that would be, So we'll give that one a try. So yeah, these survivor pools. I mean, man, this thing has grown, right? This thing has gone like bonkers. So now the big thing is in Vegas, right? They got these $1,000 pools, and you got to get a proxy because the rules are, I don't know why they do this, but you can enter in person, and then you can send your pick to someone, but you can't start a pool without being in Las Vegas. So even if you get a proxy, you still got to go technically to Vegas to go beat the guy. Give him the money, and then he'll sign up with you. It's who's got that aggravation? Whether it's the money of flying or just the time of doing it all. So we were talking about this last year, and we figured it out. I have a way where you don't have to fly to Vegas. Yeah, but I want to bet $1,000 on this thing, Scott. You could do 1,000. You could do 100. Hell, you could do $10 if you want. Yeah, but I want to fly to Vegas. You don't have to fly to Vegas. In fact, you don't have to leave your house. You don't have to leave your office. You don't have to leave your desk area. Every single week, you could join one of these $1,000 pools, win a certain amount of money, and just do it from home. So you had to be in Vegas to sign up. You do. You're going to create your own. I've come up with a way, and it's not anything ingenious, but I've thought about this way of doing this, and there's some pros and cons to it, but I could turn your $1,000 into over $500,000 right from your home, and it's a lot easier and a lot more flexible than these pools, and just as much fun. So how do you do it, Scott? We'll take a break. We'll come back. We should have Marc Lawrence joining us top of the hour. We'll talk 10, 15 minutes with him, and then I'll let you know after that how you can do it. Something ingenious. Just ingenious that you only get here on the Scott Wetzel Show. So we got that. We got some college football notes. The schedule came out for college football. Of course, we got to have our WNBA, proverbial Sophie Cunningham, little NBA as well. And WNBA, be careful what you ask for because you just might get it. Believe it or not. We'll get to that as well right here on the Scott Wetzel Show.
Hi, golfers. IndyCar Tim here. I want to talk to you a little bit about Golf Central Magazine. It's not just a golf magazine. It's the magazine for everything. Turf, travel, philanthropy, and lifestyle. Head over to golfcentralmag.com and check out the latest issue. Some of the regular features in Golf Central Magazine: the Golf Bachelorette of the Month, the Golf Bachelor of the Month, the Golf Cart Girl of the Month, Golf History, Grip It and Sip It. So head over to golfcentralmag.com. It's free. It's the magazine for everything: turf, travel, philanthropy, and lifestyle. Golf Central Magazine at golfcentralmag.com. We'll see you there.
Sports fans, it's time to gear up. Head to fanstreamsports.com and check out our brand new merchandise store. We're talking bold t-shirts, 3/4 zips, hoodies, hats, mugs, and more. Everything you need to rep your favorite shows and your favorite crew. Whether you're rolling with the J.P. Peterson Show in Tampa Bay, From the Rough in Dallas, the Tim May Show featuring Clay Hall, or the Jeff Thidoff Show in Ohio, or any of our FanStream Sports original programming, we've got the perfect look for game day and every day. So don't wait. fanstreamsports.com. Click merch and grab your gear now. Wear the stream, live the stream. fanstreamsports.com.
Hey folks, let me tell you about Bay Area Modern Medical Center, a very different kind of approach to primary care. Personalized preventative medicine, not a one-pill-fits-all mentality. Christopher Lugo and his experienced medical staff are proactive in looking at issues before they become a problem, encouraging a healthy lifestyle with proper diet, supplements, and exercise to optimize your active lifestyle. Rather than the impersonal, rushed approach, you will be the only patient and will have our full attention. That's new. Getting old is inevitable, but feeling and looking old is avoidable. Bay Area Modern Medical Centers are experts in anti-aging regenerative medicine that optimizes your body's performance in many areas. So call for an appointment to get started on a journey back to full health and a happy life with a new, modern way of healthcare. Call 844-977-3477 or go to BAMMC.com. That's 844-977-3477 or BAMMC.com.
Today's show is brought to you by Tomstown, a premier craft distillery based in Kansas City, Missouri. Discover their award-winning lineup, including double oaked bourbon, botanical gin, and double grain vodka, named the best craft vodka by the readers of USA Today. Available for online delivery in 40 states. Visit toms-town.com or their Kansas City distillery to explore more. Elevate your game with Tomstown, where history meets innovation. Please enjoy responsibly. Orion Golf Management Solutions. Orion Management Solutions has tailored its service packages just like it tailors its approach to customers. Some owners need more supervision, while others need periodic assessment of their short-term and long-term strategies and programs. Orion can be called in to develop a business plan with the existing staff, or we can assist with the daily management of a facility or event. Either way, we make sure the client is satisfied and understands the direction the facility needs to go in order to achieve the owner's goals. Orion Management Solutions can help with owner assistance service solutions, daily course management, business plan development, monthly operations, or as-needed consulting services. Whatever your need, Orion Golf Management Solutions can help. Check out oriongolf.com.
Let's go. Right now, back to the show on FanStream Sports.
All right, welcome back. It is hour number 2 of our 2-hour extravaganza. Scott Wetzel sitting in until right around 4 o'clock or so Eastern time. Waiting for Marc Lawrence, PlaybookSports.com, to join us as he will every Friday of the NFL season. So just talking a little NFL with some of the pools that we have running up.
He's here whenever you're ready, Scott.
Oh, he is? Okay. I'm sorry. I didn't see them. My bad. All right. So with that said, PlaybookSports.com, our good buddy, Mr. Marc Lawrence. What's going on, Mark? How are you tonight?
Hey, Scott, I'm doing just terrific, especially after that exciting National Football League Hall of Fame game last night that really got us in the mood.
Yeah, how about that, right? I mean, a lot of people figured Hall of Fame game, no big deal, 17-13, maybe if you're lucky. I was telling the viewers yesterday about how, the last 4 Hall of Fame games, now 5, have had 35-plus points or more. So I think the mentality with the fewer, preseason games now, Mark, you and I kind of the same age, and we remember when there were 6 preseason games. Then it dropped to 4, and then now it's 3, where these coaches don't have the luxury of 5 or 6 preseason games. So, yeah, pretty good game last night, long story short.
I thought it was, and I would say Haynes King made a good way for himself. I think we'll end up seeing him on that team some way, somehow this year. He was always the force at Georgia Tech. Whenever he didn't play, there was a massive change in the line. You can see why the way he performed last night.
Yeah, I said that yesterday, Mark. I don't know how you feel about the preseason, if you have different angles and different things you look for. I know you bet it. But one of the ones I like to look for are quarterbacks, these second, third string quarterbacks, obviously, fourth string quarterbacks that are going to play some, guys that can scramble. Because they might not be able to throw the football at the NFL level, but, going up against second, third, fourth string defensive players, if they have the ability to scramble like King does, I like betting on guys like that because I'm not necessarily relying on him to be able to throw the football, but they could always scramble, the ability to scramble. So I do like to look for teams that have the scrambling quarterbacks like King last night.
That's a good method to employ. You just think about the logic of it. They're going up against largely second and third string football players who really aren't all that adept at tracking down running backs or quarterbacks that like to scramble. I mean, it's really, really difficult for them. And I also like, as far as you're talking about quarterbacks, I like to look at those rotations, and I like to find out who is their third and fourth quarterback on the rotation, and then see if he was not a former starter in the National Football League. If he was, you'll oftentimes find him fighting for a job, a spot on the team, and he'll end up with the experience going up against these kids that are only going to be seen this week for all intents and purposes. And they tend to chew those teams up. So look for those quarterbacks that were kind of low on the depth chart right now, but were former starters in the NFL.
If you're $100 better, Mark, what do you tell people to bet these preseason games? Maybe a half a unit, quarter of a unit? Does it determine on the game, like a lot of things? Or do you say, yeah, absolutely, $100 players, Scott, play $100 on these plays? How do you view the preseason?
That's a good question because a lot of that depends upon the team you're looking at making a play on, who you're looking to beat, what the coach's philosophies are in the game. Sometimes these games work up better than others. Some teams do. In the Baltimore Ravens, the whole world knows now what John Harbaugh was. Now he's with the New York Giants. But he was just pure money in the bank for the longest while, up until maybe last year. And we'll see whether or not that holds over with the Giants this year. But, if you have a good, solid play in the National Football League preseason, I would look at it just at the same percentage that you do the regular season. As long as you've got your bankroll healthy and you're not going to put yourself in harm's way, I would play it accordingly, play that same percentage in the preseason.
Mm-hmm. You done all your news and notes for the NFL? You all set, or do you still got to do some more work?
Well, I've got just about everything I'm going to have done here, Scott. Doing a lot of it. We put a lot of it into that Playbook Preview Guide magazine. Yep. And what I do is there's a couple of shows that I like to talk to that are primarily NFL football shows, podcast people. So we make a lot of our NFL notes, if you will, surrounded around the National Football League. And, some of the subject matters that we hit on that I think are important here. One thing is, in particular, the largest adjustments for teams in the National Football League that had their season win totals adjusted from last year to this year. Some people don't realize what drastic moves there have been, and you look for value in situations just like that. You'll find teams that end up fitting that bill real nice, largest adjustments. And you'll also take a look at rest advantages, I think, in the National Football League. When it comes to teams that are playing with rest against teams that are not, that's a standard axiom in the National Football League. But when the team that is playing with rest for the first time, and it's late in the season, late November, early December, those teams are really worn out. They're gassed out, and they end up, the rest doesn't even help them at that stage of the football season. So you end up having to look at the worst and the rest, and the best disadvantaged people with rest, and the people that have the most advantage when it comes to rest as well.
I did something this year in college basketball, Mark, and it worked out well. It really did. I looked at the over-under totals of the previous 2 seasons, and I made a list of all the college basketball teams that had more overs than unders and then more unders than overs. And I bet them the 3rd season, meaning this year, just blindly basically bet them, thinking that, okay, if pick a team, UNLV, right? If UNLV had more overs last year and they had more overs 2 years ago, then the chances are they're going to have more overs again this year, as long as the coaches remain the same. And I did pretty well, believe it. I dumbed it down and just took all the thinking out of it. End of the year, if I saw a team completely different, I flipped a little bit. But point is, do you do that for the NFL or even college and then stick to that? Or is it, you have all this preseason analysis stuff. When do you jump off the bandwagon if it's not going right? Or do you absolutely stick to, okay, I think this team is going to be a high-scoring team, or I know you're not really into over-unders as much, but I think this team's going to be a good team, so I'm going to bet them because of my preseason work.
Well, basically, what we're doing with the preseason, the book, our magazine, getting ourselves ready for the football season is largely putting ourselves in the position to make plays that can bet with comfort and we feel good about in the opening month of September. Because after September is over, then you're getting into teams that have some games under their belt, and we can begin to dissect them statistically and how they're performing, running the ball, passing the ball, doing all those statistical things. That takes over in October. But we use what we learned in the offseason to get us through September into October. And these are a lot of the situations that you're talking about right now. The rest, the season win totals, things like that. And there's a real nice chart. We did did I send you a newsletter this week, Scott?
Yes, you did.
Okay.
Yep.
Well, in that newsletter, I'll tell you what I find is really, really helpful is you'll find a section in there on what the teams, how they performed as we began the show season-wise, up or down from what their projected total was supposed to be. And you look at the teams that made the biggest gaps or made the biggest lapses last football season here. You can look for these football teams that come back to the norm this following season, especially when they're far off of their season win total. You look at, for instance, I'm talking about teams that declined last year in their wins, what they were expected to do and what they did. And if any team came up -6 or worse in their projected win total, those teams are really nice plays the next football season because, number one, they're embarrassed. Number two, you're going to get a better effort from them. Adjustments were made by the coaches and the staff about acquiring new football players. And you'll find here this year to be some really, really nice statistical plays. The number one play is, by the rule of that, is the Washington Commanders, if you can believe it or not. They were minus, I think, 7 net wins from what where they were supposed to be and where they played to last year. Those teams who do that are 7 wins off or more, they improve the following season an average of 4.5 wins a season, which tells me that we're going to look for an indication of Washington to improve this year. Number one, nobody's going to want them. Number two, they're red-faced and embarrassed. And number three, they've gone out and made some moves, as they just did. They signed Stephon Diggs here this past week, to kind of boost that offense up a little bit. So those are the types of things I'm looking at. You have other teams that last year that declined. The Philadelphia Eagles were way down from where they were the year before, likely because they were in the Super Bowl the year before. The Arizona Cardinals way down. Baltimore Ravens way down. So you can look for teams to reverse those roles, if you will. Detroit Lions also way down from their win total last year. So those are good gauges that I use. And also I look to fade the teams that were plus way over on their predicted season win totals. Last year, 2 teams jumped to mind here. The Chicago Bears were 6 games over what they were projected to win. And San Francisco also 6 games over what they were projected to win. The Chicago Bears, I have no problem fading them this year because of the success they met with before. But the San Francisco 49ers have been there and done that before. I'm a big, huge fan of Kyle Shanahan. I don't know if I'm going to be all that anxious to fade him, but I will be fading the Chicago Bears a lot this football season.
Yeah, that all makes sense. It really does. Listen, it's never easy beating the boys in Vegas, but there are some times that things make sense. Like that the team that underachieved the year before. Now that, like you said, they make changes. They get a much easier schedule. We can make all the difference in the world in the NFL. So, and the expectation gets dropped. You don't go from the hunter to the huntee like you did last year. Now you're back to being the hunter. So, yeah. One of the things I noticed, I open yours up and I kind of glance through it and then I'll print it out and then I'll sit down and just read it, right? So I glance through it. One of the things I was surprised to find out, Buffalo has gone over their win total. I think it's 7. If it's not 7, it's at least 6 straight years, which that's pretty good for a team that's had a whole lot of expectations on them.
Yes, it is. Right? Buffalo's played really, really steady, consistent football, if you will. Let me share with you the guys that were the biggest or the best.
Okay.
Out of our it starts on page 5 in our newsletter here, but Cincinnati Bengals, they've fallen short 8 of the last 10 years on their preseason over/under win totals. Kansas City Chiefs have gone 8-2-1 over, better than their preseason win total. You've got the LA Rams 5-1 over their preseason win total. You've got the New York Giants. Just one time have they gone over their total the last 9 years.
Wow.
The New York Jets one time over the last 10 years.
Wow.
And you've also got the Seattle Seahawks. they've been an over machine. They've gone over 7 of the last 8 years. Pittsburgh, 6 straight overs, but a lot of that was obviously Mike Tomlin there. And the other guy that struggles a little bit, the Tennessee Titans, they've gone under their projected number 4 years in a row. So, these are good gauges and things to look for if you're finding out why teams are starting slow or are kind of a bit of a surprise. Well, you'll find the surprise coming out of those season win totals, what they played to last year.
Interesting. I saw on the Coffee Club this morning, your college football playoff rankings, the dates came out. They've been out for a little while, but you put them in a nice little order and
Yes.
people look at them. I get the poll. I get the first round. I'm okay with that, Mark. Okay with the second round. But as you pointed out, the difference between the second round and the third round is a 2-week delay. The second round is December 30th, 31st, and January 1st. And then they don't play those semifinal games until 2 weeks later, to January 14th. NFL playoffs have a lot to do with that. They're probably in a situation. What else can we do, Scott? But man, that's a weird. That's a weird. Right when you're in the thick of things, now you take an entire week off. Kind of strange.
Yeah, it is. They're going to twist and tweak that college football playoff until they get it down right. I don't know if they're ever going to get it down right. I think expansion is more in their mind than anything. And, there's a big tug of war going on between the SEC and the Big Ten as about how many teams they want to have in the conference or in the college football playoff. The SEC wants 16, the Big Ten wants 24. It's all going to be settled when the dust settles. The bottom line here, Scott, it's going to be all about the bottom line, all about the money, and whatever revenue brings in the most is the way they'll travel that path. Always follow the money.
Yep. Where can people get the newsletter and the Coffee Club?
Newsletter is available online at playbooksports.com. And anybody that subscribes to any of our season-long publications, our newsletter, our totals tip sheets, any season-long publication, you'll also get free bonuses. My magazine, our 2026 Playbook Preview Guide magazine. That's 256 pages with a lot of really good information. And you'll also get my Coffee Club every day in your email box. It's in your email box at 6 a.m. Eastern every morning, every day from now until the Super Bowl begins. And you read it this morning, Scott, and it's just getting more popular and bigger and better every year. The Coffee Club is the real popular feature for people who subscribe.
Cool. And again, there's the magazine, playbookssports.com. Only a couple bucks. Same thing with all the things Mark has mentioned. He's got a podcast on there as well. So playbookssports.com. Mark, great job as always. Enjoy the weekend. We'll get some winners, and then we'll talk again next Friday.
Hey, Scott, I'll look forward to it. You do the same, and be well. Take care. Bye-bye.
You too, man. Thanks. Appreciate it. There you go. Marc Lawrence, our good buddy. Playbooksports.com. He'll throw us some winners when we have some games. Next preseason games isn't until the following Thursday. Otherwise, if it was this weekend, I would have asked him, and he would have given us some picks as well. But it's not until the following week. So, but yeah, it's a great website. It's got a lot of good things. Not a lot of money either. It really isn't. I'm not trying to hawk him or anything. But good guy, honest. The website is great. The book is cool. The weekly newsletter that he put out is tremendous. It really is. So, yeah, a couple little tidbits in there with the college football rankings. The first ranking is November 3rd. Okay, that's pretty good. Give the season, a chance to kind of resonate a little bit. Get 5, 6, 7 games under your belt. Even though I'm okay from the beginning of the year. I really am. But, okay. Then the first round of the playoffs don't kick in until December 18th, which is, probably a decent little time. Second round the following week. So you got to work your way around New Year's Day, which we'll have some games. And then the semifinals, after that 2-week delay. I know this has been out for a while, but sometimes when you see something, you hear it's like, yeah, whatever, But then when you actually see it on paper, as you get closer to the season, it's like, wow. You got to wait 2 weeks. That's going to be weird. But maybe for the kids, it's they need a 2-week break. And then the championship game isn't until another week and a half later. So they're going from January 1st, second round, and then it takes another month to get to the championship game, which is in Las Vegas this year, January 25th. So no excuses as far as not being ready or anything along those lines. God forbid the kids actually should be going to school, mind you. But that is don't worry about that. All right, back to we'll get to the NFL. We'll take a break. We'll do some college football here. We'll get to the NFL Survivor Pool and how you can win your Survivor Pool right from home. But college football, a lot of practices opened up today, including with the eventual national champion, as we all know, that's the Fighting Irish of Notre Dame. Yes, nothing spectacular here, just just a good old buddy, Marcus Freeman. Yeah, eventual Notre Dame. Good to see Marcus out there and everything else. Glad he didn't leave for an NFL job. Like, I'm sure he probably, if not was offered, at least, had some decent looks. So, a couple other crazy little things. First, the University of Michigan announced today that they're hiding all the grades for their incoming students because they're worried about mental healthness, and they want to curb all mental health issues. Well, I tell you, our country's getting so soft. It really is. I mean, first of all, I didn't even realize they announced grades. My daughter's still in college, and I don't ever remember her grades being announced to anybody. That's kind of weird, right? Okay, but I guess so. And then we have the good old Purdue new athletic director. Got hired this off season, right?
Every current student athlete will hear this message repeatedly. We are here to win championships. If you don't want to win championships, go to Indiana.
What? Let's hear that again, good old Tommy.
Every recruit, every current student athlete will hear this message repeatedly. We are here to win championships. If you don't want to win championships, go to Indiana.
Go to Indiana? Is this guy a moron? Has he been living in a cave the last couple of seasons? We'll start with college football, right? Since we're in the college football season. That's what I think he's referring to. Indiana won the national championship last year, you dope. What do you mean go to Indiana? 2 years ago, they were in the college football playoffs. What has Purdue won? Purdue in football hasn't won a big game since Bob Greasy and Drew Brees were at quarterback, for goodness sakes. I mean, they've been awful. They've been beyond awful in college football. Brutal. Well, maybe he's talking about college basketball, Scott. Really? Indiana's got a couple of national championship banners hanging from the rafters. What does Purdue have? Nothing. Again, they couldn't even get to the Final Four, let alone win a national championship. And Painter finds a way to lose every single stinking year. He's got to the Final Four, but one time. But that's it. They don't have championships unless you go back 30, 40, or forget that, 50 years ago, maybe? I don't even think then. So you don't win in college football, Indiana does. You don't win in college basketball, Indiana does. And yet you want to tell recruits, all we're going to do is win, and if you don't care about winning, go to Indiana. I mean, listen, I'm in for rhetoric. You want to come up with something, okay? But, whoever wrote his script better have checked themselves a couple of different times, because clearly he doesn't know what he's talking about. He comes off like a buffoon. I mean, really? You want to say that about Notre Dame? Maybe you could do that, but obviously Notre Dame football is a hell of a lot better than Purdue. I mean, if you want to say that about Butler, you can't even say that about Butler. At least Butler, with Boy Wonder Jr. in charge 25 years ago, got the back-to-back national championship games. So you can't even say it about Butler. You want to say it about Indiana State? I mean, pick another fight, dude. You're not looking good in the pecking order of Indiana sports. College, you're not ahead of Indiana. You're not. You used to be. Me growing up, absolutely, but not anymore. You're certainly not ahead of Notre Dame. You're not ahead of Butler in basketball. What are you ahead of? Like you said, Indiana State, maybe the Sycamores? And at least they got, Larry Bird. They went to a championship game. You can't even say you're better than them. Dope. Just, again, I don't mind you throwing a little rhetoric. I'd rather have that than kiss-ass talk, but geez, come up with something. Give me your debate team. Tell me your women's lacrosse team is better if you want to. But don't make it sound like you're ripping on Indiana football when Indiana football is the defending national champs. Stupid as that. Little NBA news here. So, four-letter network. Well, I shouldn't say that. One of the guys who used to work at the four-letter network, Pablo Torre, does a decent job. I like him. Had a story out today about the Clippers and Kawhi Leonard. I mean, this stuff is going to get dirty. I don't know if anything is ever really going to happen. But, we're all knowing the NBA is having its investigation about the signage deal. There's another company he had a sponsorship deal with that gave him millions of dollars. Intuit Dome, whatever that is, a video board, construction company. So, and he quoted, Torrey, the author, quoted someone from Intuit Dome saying that, yep, Leonard was our guy, and this was clearly a way to circumvent the salary cap. So, which is really weird. These guys make so much freaking money, NBA players, anyway, to think that you have to give them even more. But I guess that's what separates, if they're all willing to offer $40 million, what separates you? Well, you know what, come to me and I'll give you another 5, 6, 7 million, behind the scenes. This stuff happens, no doubt, all of the time in the NBA, all of the time, right? And in a lot of ways, it's just, I don't doubt it. I mean, I'm not even saying it's circumventing the salary cap. I really not. These two companies, now one is tied with Ballmer, the owner. I get that. The other one clearly is tied with the Clippers, because they did their video board stuff. But that doesn't necessarily mean that it's under the table. It just means, all right, listen, yeah, I'm tied in with the Clippers. I did their video board stuff. I want to get involved even more so. I can have an LA Clippers sponsor my, or be the face of my company. Yeah, why not? I'm involved with them. Same thing with the other one. So, I mean, I know it sounds dirty and it might be, but if I'm these companies, that's all I'm saying. Yeah, of course I got Kawhi Leonard. Of course I'm giving them $1 million. Why not? I'm involved with the team. I put their video board up in their new arena. I'm paying millions of dollars, and they paid me millions of dollars for this stuff. Yeah, I want to get involved with them. So it's not really, I don't know how you'd ever prove it unless you really got people to just absolutely positively just ratted them out. And I don't know if you really get that or not. Not if they stood their ground. So, but it's dirty. The NBA is dirty, and Adam Silver's an idiot. We all know that. And is anything ultimately going to happen? I don't think so. I really don't. So, meanwhile, we got remember Enes Kanter used to play Utah Jazz, played in the NBA, about 11 seasons, center. A decent player, not bad. Nothing great, but, not bad. So, he goes 6'10", right, in center. And he now says he wants to play in the WNBA. Now, he's not saying he's a woman. So, and I think that's the out the WNBA would have. But in this transgender mumbo jumbo crapola, the WNBA, God forbid they should say something sensible, have come out and said, oh no, men are, if you think you're a woman, then okay, you're allowed in our league. Simple as that. We're into all this transgender stuff, right? Okay, right? So Kanter says, all right, if you're going to allow, biological men in the league, that's what you're telling us, right? Yes. Okay, then I want in the league, and he's got the America First Policy Institute legally representing him. So if for the fairness and representation doctrine, that's his legal right. If you're opening it up to biological males, and then I want in, I mean, I don't know if he's joking. I don't know if he's 100% serious. Or is just, trying to bring a little publicity his way, whatever the case may be. But you know what? God bless him. God bless him. Well, what is the WNBA going to do, right? God forbid the WNBA should just say no to this nonsense and just say, no, we made a mistake. Listen, sorry, little Bobby. I know you want to spell your name Bobbi, but you know what? Go ahead and do that, but we can't have you in your league because our league, because your name is really Bobby. Simple as that. Sorry, Bobby. Sorry, Robbie. Sorry, Patty. You're really Pat, not Patty. It just is what it is. Feel bad for you, but don't come running to our league for looking for a way out. That's what they should do, right? Maybe not be as unkind as I am, but you open up the Pandora's box to the Enes Kanters of the world. Could you imagine, honestly, Right? If 4 or 5, I'm glad. I hope he gets 4 or 5 buddies and they all say the same thing. And I hope they all take over the WNBA and beat the snot out of these women and these teams. And then we'll have to see them come to our side of the equation and realize, all right, as Sophie said, it's nothing against transgender people. It's just our league is for women, and we want to protect the women's ability to play in our league. It's as simple as that. So I don't know how many Enes Kantors it would take. 2, 3, 4, 5. Don't know. But hopefully we get more. Let's put it that way. Speaking of Sophie, I'm going to do a dangerous thing. I've not seen, we like to play one piece, one shot, one picture, one video of her every single day, right? We're on the Sophie Cunningham bandwagon here. So I've not seen this one. I saw it on Twitter, but I did not watch the whole thing. So it's like a good reporter, broadcasting 101, never ask a question you don't know the answer to. The same thing here with TV. Never show a clip you have never seen before because you don't know. But since we can stretch the rules here a little bit, here's our proverbial Sophie shot today.
First lotion.
That's her dad. Now, I don't know, is she going to shave him? She wouldn't just put this out for no stupid reason.
Yeah, sir.
What are you going to do?
Do you do this every morning?
She's going to take her top off in front of her dad?
But have you gotten better?
I put that coconut stuff on my head.
Good. Good, good. It's kind of relaxing, huh?
Mm-hmm.
If it wasn't her
you
daughter,
have to romanticize the little things in life, Dad.
All right. Thinking about Mrs. Sophie.
Okay.
That's it?
This is some eye cream. This is great eye cream. Do you use
fast
eye cream?
forward here a little bit.
Yeah.
There's got to be something more to this.
Beautiful.
I don't think there is.
Right back here.
Oh my goodness, Sophie, what are you?
It's just her giving her dad some treatment. That's all it is.
Wow.
Giving love to her dad on her social media is what she's doing.
You want to do that on Father's Day? Maybe it's his birthday. I don't know, but geez, that's you talk about a letdown. Oh man, that's a major letdown. Come on, Sophie. Come on, get back in the game.
I think you're going to make up for it here in a little bit with your leaving you with this.
Yeah, one of our leaving you with this. I think we'll make up for it, folks. So don't worry about that. All right, we still got the new dining experience as well to get to, although there aren't any pictures, unfortunately, with that. But dumbest thing I saw today, and then making $500,000 or so right from your home. We will do that next right here on a Football Friday, Survivor Pool Football Friday right here on the Scott Wetzel Show.
Hi, golfers. IndyCar Tim here. I want to talk to you a little bit about Golf Central Magazine. It's not just a golf magazine. It's the magazine for everything. Turf, travel, philanthropy, and lifestyle. Head over to golfcentralmag.com and check out the latest issue. Some of the regular features in Golf Central Magazine: the Golf Bachelorette of the Month, the Golf Bachelor of the Month, the Golf Cart Girl of the Month, Golf History, Grip It and Sip It. So head over to golfcentralmag.com. It's free. It's the magazine for everything: turf, travel, philanthropy, and lifestyle. Golf Central Magazine at golfcentralmag.com. We'll see you there.
Sports fans, it's time to gear up. Head to fanstreamsports.com and check out our brand new merchandise store. We're talking bold t-shirts, 3/4 zips, hoodies, hats, mugs, and more. Everything you need to rep your favorite shows and your favorite crew. Whether you're rolling with the JP Peterson Show in Tampa Bay, From the Rough in Dallas, the Tim May Show featuring Clay Hall, or the Jeff Thidoff Show in Ohio, or any of our FanStream Sports original programming, we've got the perfect look for game day and every day. So don't wait. fanstreamsports.com. Click merch and grab your gear now. Wear the stream, live the stream. fanstreamsports.com.
Hey folks, let me tell you about Bay Area Modern Medical Center, a very different kind of approach to primary care. Personalized preventative medicine, not a one-pill-fits-all mentality. Christopher Lugo and his experienced medical staff are proactive in looking at issues before they become a problem, encouraging a healthy lifestyle with proper diet, supplements, and exercise to optimize your active lifestyle. Rather than the impersonal, rushed approach, you will be the only patient and will have our full attention. That's new. Getting old is inevitable, but feeling and looking old is avoidable. Bay Area Modern Medical Centers are experts in anti-aging regenerative medicine that optimizes your body's performance in many areas. So call for an appointment to get started on a journey back to full health and a happy life with a new, modern way of healthcare. Call 844-977-3477 or go to BAMMC.com. That's 844-977-3477 or BAMMC.com.
Today's show is brought to you by Tomstown, a premier craft distillery based in Kansas City, Missouri. Discover their award-winning lineup, including double oaked bourbon, botanical gin, and double grain vodka, named the best craft vodka by the readers of USA Today. Available for online delivery in 40 states. Visit toms-town.com or their Kansas City distillery to explore more. Elevate your game with Tomstown, where history meets innovation. Please enjoy responsibly. Orion Golf Management Solutions. Orion Management Solutions has tailored its service packages just like it tailors its approach to customers. Some owners need more supervision, while others need periodic assessment of their short-term and long-term strategies and programs. Orion can be called in to develop a business plan with the existing staff, or we can assist with the daily management of a facility or event. Either way, we make sure the client is satisfied and understands the direction the facility needs to go in order to achieve the owner's goals. Orion Management Solutions can help with owner assistance service solutions, daily course management, business plan development, monthly operations, or as-needed consulting services. Whatever your need, Orion Golf Management Solutions can help. Check out oriongolf.com.
Let's go! Right now, back to the show on FanStream Sports.
All right, welcome back. It is the Scott Wetzel Show right here on FanStreamSports.com. FanStreamSports.com, one word. Talk a little NFL. Thanks again, Marc Lawrence, PlaybookSports.com. Again, check out his website. They got podcasts here. His podcast up there. He's got all kind of packages up there. He's got the newsletter, the coffee club. It really discount. It's only a couple of dollars, honestly, throughout the course of the year. So PlaybookSports.com. Marc will join us every Friday during the football season. So look forward to getting some winners from him. Little YouTube chat talk, and make sure you hit that like button. All right, we got hundreds of people watching on YouTube. Hit that subscribe button, please. You go back and forth with us during the show. Always like to read those comments, and you need to subscribe in order to put those comments down. So our good buddy Rafi Tickets, our ticket broker, Scott Bishop on the podcast. Looking forward to the end of August. That's when we'll continue the podcast. Been tuning in into FanStream Sports, though, daily. So, you know what, Rafi? Good job. Do appreciate that. So, thank you very much as far as that is all concerned. So the main thing this time of the year, joining these survivor pools, right? Like I said, I run one, at least one $25 one or a $50 one, maybe a $100 one. But the big ones out in Vegas are all $1,000. And people, well, I've never seen more people throw down $1,000 that normally aren't $1,000 bettors than any other bet. Even the Super Bowl. You know, you have a few major events during the course of the sports calendar that you go the extra mile, right? I think non-horse racing fans will bet the Kentucky Derby. You know, non-football fans will bet the Super Bowl. NBA fans, World Baseball fans might bet those things. I don't know about non-hockey fans betting the Stanley Cup, but I think you'll get some NBA fans betting basketball and, some baseball fans betting the World Series, right? Those are probably the three major ones, maybe a little golf too with the Masters. But I've never seen more people plunk down, or want to anyway, $1,000. Like it's, who cares, $10 when you get into these survivor pool things. Because the thinking is, boy, this is just so easy, right? You know, man, I want to win $1,000. And you hear the guys that are in the running, in week 8, 9, 10, you think, oh, I could do that. Oh, it's easy. Just pick one winner, no point spread, right? So, but as I told you got to go to Vegas. And who wants to hop on a plane, buy a ticket? Theoretically, you don't have to stay there. You could go there and then fly back, but who the hell wants to do that, especially if you live here on the East Coast, right? So it's a nuisance, but here's the way you could do it. And you start with that same $1,000 bet, right? The average bet that you're going to make in a survivor pool is a favorite, right? If you're smart, you could be an idiot and bet an underdog, but who does that, right? Unless you have to because you run out of teams. But the bottom line is, your average, is minus 260 or so on the money line. That equates to about a 6.5, 7, between 6 and 7 point favorite. Case in point, Seattle against the Patriots are 3.5. That money line is minus 190. Rams money line is minus 205. Let me see if I can find one that's right around the 6 or 7 that I'm talking about. Detroit Lions is minus 6.5. That's a little juicier, minus 330. Cincinnati is minus 3.5, and they're minus 210. So, like I said, a 6.5 or so point favorite on the money line is going to be right around 260, right? And that's realistically going to be the goal. Even the Rams, it is good. Rams are 5.5 point favorites against the Packers in November, future line. They're minus 240, right? So, bottom line, you look for a 6.5, 7 point favorite, right? And that'll be the barometer. If you lay $1,000, which is what you're willing to risk, right? At minus 260, you win 384 bucks. All right, not bad. Now you roll that over. The next week, you're not betting 1,000, you're betting 1,384. You're going to keep that 1,000 in there because you're willing to risk $1,000. So you have to keep that 1,000 in there. Now you bet $1,384 at minus 260, and you're going to win 532 bucks. Now you're up to 1,900. How do we get to $500,000, Scott? Bear with me. All right, next week, $1,916 at minus 260 on, the Packers over the Minnesota Twinkies. You win $737. Now you're up to $2,653. And you play the game, and you keep on doing that. Week number 4, $2,653 at minus 260. You win $1,000, $1,020. Now you're up to $3,673. You put $3,673 the next week, week number 5 at minus 260. You win $1,416. Now you're up to $5,089. Now it's getting interesting, right? And you keep on doing that. Week 10, you'd be up to $18,703. At minus 260, you're going to win $7,100. Nearly $7,200. $7,193. You win that, you're now at $25,896. You bet that the following week. You win that. And they're going. And again, and again. Week 15, you're up to $95,180. At a bet at minus 260, you're going to win $36,608. Now you're over $100,000 or $100,000. You're at $131,788. You roll that over. You roll it again and again and again. Remember, these survivor pools, there's 20 picks because they have double pick weeks. They have, Thanksgiving Day week, and then they got this year Christmas week. So then you throw in the bye, so you're going to have 17 games per team, but it's really 20 picks. Bottom line is, if you keep on rolling over your winnings, and we'll get to how difficult it is, you're going to come up with, I'm going to put the right one up there. There we go. You're going to be risking week number 20, $484,388 at minus 260 to win $670,691. Cha-ching, cha-ching. Now, is it, 3-4 million? No, but $670,691 you see there is pretty damn good. It's pretty damn good, right? All right. So why don't we all do it? Well, before we do, first I'll tell you that's with $1,000. If you do it with $100, you're going to end up with about $67,000. And if you start with $10, you'll end up with about $6,700. So you just basically, it is a little bit off. It's not just 1%, 10%, 100% because, you're multiplying your winnings, time and time again, and you don't get as high using $100. So anyway, it's about 67,000 or 6,700. So there are advantages and disadvantages. All right, we'll start with the advantages. The biggest advantage probably is you could choose a team more than once. Those survivor pools that you join, you want to use the Seattle Seagirls, a couple of times since you're a Seattle fan, Super Bowl champ. Yeah, can't do it. I want to bet Pat Mahomes all the time. Yeah, can't do it. Buffalo Bills, Lamar Jackson, Baltimore. Yeah, can't do it. One shot at glory. That's it. This way, you could bet Buffalo every single week. You think Seattle's going to go undefeated? Bet them every single week. No rules. If things are too difficult, you really don't like a play, skip a week. That's all. No problem. There's nobody holding a gun to your head as you're sitting there on your couch watching football saying you have to pick a game. If you want to double down, say there's 3 games that you like, 2 games that you really like. You know what? I'll use a 1 o'clock game, and by golly, I'm hot. I'll use a 4 o'clock game as well. I could add more. I can make it 21 picks, 22 picks if I want to. Or skip a week and then double down the following week. The other one is you can cash out whatever you want. Now, there are places that are supposedly offering if you're in Vegas and you're using Circa and you're in week 10, they come up with this value of how much your entry is now worth if you're still alive, and people will supposedly buy those entries, but I don't know. Who needs that aggravation, right? No. So this way, though, you can cash out whenever you want. That also, though, and those are the advantages. There's some pretty good ones there, right? So you can choose a team more than once. That's by far the probably the biggest. Well, the first 2, I think. You're busy that week. You can't do all your research, can't do your homework. I don't want to throw a dart. All these games are pick 'em. The NFL is shrewd. They kind of did this in week number 1, whereas they make the better teams the road teams. And those are one of the rules in Survivor Pool. You really want to stay away from road teams for whatever reason. Even though when everything is said and done, it's almost a 50-50 proposition. But so you can use a team more than once. You could skip a week if there's just not a team you really like that week. You could double down a week to make that back up. And you can cash out whenever you want. So those are pretty good advantages. Now, there are some disadvantages. Now, disadvantages, it's a slow buildup, right? You could be in week 8. Your $1,000 is still only $13,000. I mean, I say only, but it's like, wow, that's it. So it takes several weeks for you to get to where you're really adding on $30,000, $40,000. So slow buildup, hard to hedge unless you're rich. What do you mean? Well, say you're at week 14 and you're at $95,000. Now you're betting week 15. I don't want to lose $95,000. I'm willing to hedge, $20,000 of that, maybe even 25, right? All right, then you got to come up with $25,000 to feed your local Louis the Lip or your favorite little FanDuel site. You're not hedging on credit. You got to be able to lose that money. And then if you want to hedge again the following week, you got to come up with another $25,000. And then if you win that and you want to hedge the following week, you got to come up with another $25,000. That's, so it's not easy to be able to hedge out. That's for sure. Versus just cashing out. But you can't really do that either. Either one. Maybe the biggest one, believe it or not, is the temptation to stop. What do you mean? Well, if you're in Vegas and you're betting one of these, you can't stop. You got to keep on playing it. You may be up to week 16 and you got $182,000, and if you want to stop the other way, in the casinos, you can't stop. I mean, Circa's not giving you $182,000, even though that's what maybe it's worth. You got to keep on playing on. So This way, you can stop. But that, I'm saying, is a negative because the goal really is to finish the entire season and get to the end of the rainbow. I mean, if you're $1,000 better even, and you're through week 13, let's say week 14, and you're up to $95,000, are you really going to the window and betting $95,000 on the Seattle Seagirls at -6.5, well, -260, to beat the Arizona Cardinals? Man, that's tough to do. Even at 68,000 the week before, I mean, 1,000 to 68,000. It's not life changing, but to risk that, it sounds, oh yeah, I'll definitely do it, Scott. I'm definitely gonna do it. Yeah. You say it now when you only have $1,000 in your pocket, but when you have $68,000 in your, FanStream, in your FanDuel, that'd be nice, huh? In your FanDuel account, and all it takes is one little button that says cash out, boy. I'm going to risk it all. That's tough to do. Much. So the temptation is stop, whereas in Las Vegas, you're not stopping. And then the other one is, the prize amount is, dare I say it, only $670,000, almost $700,000. Whereas, the ones in Las Vegas are worth $1 million to $3 million. So, but you know what? As we like to say here on the Scott Wetzel Show, if your sentence starts with "I only won," then it's a pretty good sentence, right? We live by that mantra. So I'll deal with only winning $670,000. So that's how you do it. So don't worry about going to Vegas. Don't worry about getting a proxy. Don't worry about all. To me, the advantages far outweigh the disadvantages. Again, if you want to play 2 in a week, you do it early on. You could do that, and that's how you get your pot to over $1 million. It doesn't take much. A couple of more wins, believe it or not, depending on when you do it. So don't fret about having to spend $1,000, having to spend another $500, $600, $700 on airfare, having to pay a proxy, having to then tip him if you actually win. Just do this. That's it. You pick how much you want. You don't want to start with 1,000. You can start with 500. You can start with 100. Like I said, even if $100 is your game, that still ended up being $67,000. That's not bad, man. That's not bad. You get all the thrills, all the excitement. You're not necessarily part of a group, but who cares? Who cares? Just roll it over. And if you do this, open up a complete separate account, whether it's DraftKings, Caesars, whatever the case may be. I wouldn't trust your local Louis to lip, but just open up a separate account and you make one bet a week. That's it. And just roll it over and pretend it's not even there. So for me, if I started with 1,000, I'd be good through 5 weeks, 1 into 5. I'd be like, I know it's a nice turnaround, but okay, I'll live with that. Week 10. Honestly, and that's what we're all about here, probably week 8, when my $9,756 turns into $13,508. That's when I would be tempted. I'm sitting at a 10-1 ticket. I invested 1,000. I got over 12,000 in profits. Man, do I really want to piss that away? Maybe I'd pull some out of it. That's another advantage. You could pull some of it out. You don't have to bet it all. Again, that could be used as a disadvantage if you continue to win, but you could pull half out. That's when I would start be like, man, I could have $13,000 in my pocket. Really? Then I'd have to kind of talk my way out of it. Yeah, but then I got taxes. And I got to pull the 1,000 out that I, invested, so it's really only 12,000. Then I got to pay another 3,000 in taxes, so now it's down to 9,000. Let's do it one more week. Then it would get to 18,000, almost 19,000. Then it would get to nearly 26,000. I mean, really, do you have the balls to put all that down the following week? You say yes, but that would be tough. And then it gets to, eventually like 131,000. Now you're talking big buck. Every win now is $50,000. They don't, again, that maybe not life-changing, but life-adjusting, that's for damn sure. It would be tough. It would really, really be tough to kind of keep rolling this over. But you could do it. You could do it. So we'll do it. We'll have one here on the podcast that we'll have as a group. No betting. You want to bet it on your own separately, okay? But we'll see how far we could go, when we do this stuff. So yeah, so that's how you do it. You don't have to leave your seat. You don't have to go to Vegas. You don't have to do anything. You can pick whatever amount you want to put down, but that's how you end up doing it. So one of the dumbest things I saw today. We'll bring this back up later on as we get a little bit closer to the start of the NFL season. One of the dumbest things I saw today. I don't even know what the hell this is. I don't. You explain to me. I've never seen this before. Maybe you guys have. Four guys. You can't touch the That is the stupidest. I don't know if that's in a bar or you'll sport in the Midwest somewhere. That's pretty dumb. But I must say that is pretty goofy. The dumbest thing I read today, I told you about it. It's a real place. The Sori Steakhouse in Hollywood is offering its second nude fine dining experience this month. 20 people stripped down bare naked to have a steak dinner. Cost $150 for women, naturally more for men. $250 for men. $300 for a couple. Price includes a multi-course meal, silk bathrobe, lap towel. They're having soup. The owner says he's not worried about dinners, spilling soup and other things, hot dishes on their lap. Everybody should know that when you sit down and eat soup, you bend over the table. That's why God gave you a neck. Listen, there's so many crazy people in this world. I don't doubt they could probably sell out. He said he did this when he opened up his restaurant earlier this year just to kind of separate himself, right, from his rivals. And no doubt, every Monday he does it. First Monday of every month now. I would say you'd separate yourself. That's there are other ways you could do that, but he definitely, good old Murad Ali, saying that he's done this. So I get they're all sitting together and they're all. I guess there's nude beaches, but that's a little different than nude restaurants. What would guys? I fully understand. I get that. Couples. Women, what would prompt a woman? Although all you can do is go on the internet. You see plenty of naked women. So I guess knock yourselves out, ladies. You want to sit there bare naked having your steak dinner, as people are goggling at you. Okay, I guess so. Speaking of goggling, we will leave you. We'll leave you with this. You to know that I'm never leaving, 'cause I miss the snow till death will. The headlights are on. Yeah. I want you to know that I'm never leaving, 'cause I miss the snow till death will. Oh yes, that's a beautiful thing. My oh my oh my, the fun you can have with those, huh? Just somehow or another, my producer slipped that into the broadcast. I'll blame it on Tim. So, but yes. All right, just to kind of review our picks for later on tonight, we got 3. We went 5-0 yesterday. Tonight we're going to go Red Sox laying a 1.5. I'm telling you, this series has got written all over. As great as the Red Sox run is, this just seems too easy. But we're going to go. We'll buy in. Red Sox laying a 1.5 minus 125. We'll take the Guardians / Indians minus 140 against the White Sox. They're coming off that long, crazy game last night in Boston, then flying to Chicago, and now they're facing Cleveland's best pitcher. And in WNBA, I like the Mystics, +6, 5.5, 6 against Atlanta I think the Mystics can actually win outright. I won't bet it that way. I'll bet it plus the 6. I won't get too greedy, but I think they can win that game outright. And that's what I look for in underdogs. Teams I think can actually win the game outright. So we are for the week 7-4. We're plus money. We're in a minus 180 holds. We went 0-3 on Monday. Didn't have any picks Tuesday. Wednesday 2-1. Picked up plus $150, and then yesterday you picked up $500. So you should be up $320 if you're a $100 player. Not bad. So another winning week, depending on what happens today. I think at worst we go 1-2, but I think we're looking at hopefully another 3-0. Hopefully the Red Sox win by more than one run. As far as some of the headlines going on, anything else new, Scott? As we were on the show, Kirk Cousins and Crosby fight at practice today. This is so stupid. Defensive end Max Crosby. He's another idiot. He's like the Mike Trout of the NFL. He really is. It's funny. People want to give him credit for sticking with the Raiders, and they want to kill Trout, which I fully understand. But if I'm Max Crosby, same thing, dude. Same freaking thing. You're at a losing team. You're a losing organization. Why the hell do you want to stay? You got a couple of years left. That's it in the NFL. Shelf life is winding down. You want to stay with the Raiders like they're ever going to get close to a Super Bowl? He could have left this year and he didn't. So now he hits quarterback Kirk Cousins twice during the team period. When Crosby hit Cousins' arm a second time, the veteran had enough, got into Crosby's face, grabbed his jersey. Both exchanged words before it was broken up. Head coach Clint Kubiak, obviously fighting in our game. You throw a punch in a game, you're out of the game, so we got to be smart. You want to defend him, your team, blah, 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 blah. Oh, he has the edge, speaking of Cousins. When you get out there, here's Crosby. When you get out there, bullets are flying. I'm not thinking about not finishing the play. That's just not my nature. He's an idiot. That's something I've been dealing with my whole career. It's not easy. What are you, a freaking moron? I mean, are you that stupid? Are you that like up on drugs or whatever you're up on that you only got him on a football field and I can't think for myself anymore? I just got to beat everybody up? I'm not a big Max Crosby fan. I'm just not. We played the Purdue AD. He says, oops, my bad. Admits his dig at Indiana was a mistake. I'm having a great day yesterday, given our vision, sharing what we're going to do here at Purdue. I made an offhand, unscripted comment about an in-state rival that didn't land well. I knew the second left my mouth. Yeah, again, as we said, it didn't land well because it was dumb. Because they won championships and you haven't. Simple as that. Anything else? Nope. Nothing crazy there. Let's check any emails. Did we get any emails today? Got to throw the email out a lot more. My bad on that stuff. Zach from Jerusalem. Whole game went back and forth. Scott, Red Sox last night. Think about this. They scored more runs in that game than the whole month of May at Fenway Park. The Red Sox have. Wilbur has hit as many home runs in his homestand that the team did at home way back when. I firmly believe the big change came not when they fired Cora, and I don't think so either, but when Connor Falefa and Story got hurt. When they get healthy, it's going to cause a big problem. They should DFK, IKF, Connor Falefa, and trade something for Trevor Story. Problem with that is Trevor Story still makes a lot of money. How many more years left, real quickly, does he have on his contract? I think it's 2. Trevor Story contracts. Another dopey trade. I'm never trading for a guy from Colorado. You would think the Yankees and Red Sox would have learned their lesson. He can opt out, but he's not opting out because nobody's paying him $25 million. So he's got 2 more years. Yeah, a club option at $25 million for a third year, which I don't think they would take. But yeah, you're on the hook. Unless his agent sells him a bill of goods and says someone's willing to give you more, but I don't think anyone's giving Trevor Story. He would opt in for 2 more years at $25 million each year. So we got him for 2 more years. You want to trade him, you're going to have to pay, a decent portion for that, unfortunately. So you're kind of stuck with him. Anything else going on? Nope. I think that's about it. So. We got 3 breaks in, right? Did we get 3 breaks in?
Yeah, we're good. Yep.
Yeah, we're good. We're good, right? So, all right. So good job by everybody. Do appreciate it. Got some of the comments there on the YouTube page there. Again, hit the subscribe button, please. Subscribe button, just nice and easy, no big deal. I do have in-game live coming up here in a couple of hours if you guys want to watch over at Sports Grid. Otherwise, check out our website, fanstreamsports.com. It's got all the other Scott Wetzel shows, all good, all great shows. Hopefully you guys tune in from there. And otherwise, have a good weekend. Me, I'm just working, basically working tomorrow, working Sunday. My weekends are really kind of work. My off days are kind of during the week, believe it or not. But yeah, a typical weekend. Hopefully you guys have a great weekend. And gals as well, obviously. So be good, enjoy it, be safe, and then we'll talk to you on Monday through Friday, 2 to 4, right here on FanStream Sports.